What's up, guys? This is Jay Griff. Welcome back to the Dark Souls 2 blog, episode 2. Okay, so this time I'm going to talk about the general dynamics of Dark Souls 2 and what's changed from Dark Souls 1, at least that I can tell in these first 3 or 4 hours that I've played now. I've gotten a couple more hours under my belt. First thing I want to say is that the biggest point I had in the first episode I said is that the controls didn't feel right. They felt super loose and super slippery and unresponsive and shit. And I don't know if it was like a glitch that was going on or what, but I booted it up again this morning and I'd gotten out of the tutorial area, so maybe it's actually the tutorial area, but walking around in the other areas, none of that's there anymore. The controls they feel tighter. They feel like they're responding now. I don't know if that was like an initial weirdness because I was having to switch gears from the way the Dark Souls 1 controls feel and the way the Dark Souls 2 controls feel. But basically, it's that whole this feels so bad that's not there anymore. Um, so let's talk about the dynamics and what's different in Dark Souls 2 compared to 1. The first real jarring thing that you notice once you get out of the tutorial area, that is, about Dark Souls 2, and actually you notice it in the tutorial area, now that I think about it, is that the NPCs have a ton of stuff to say. A ton of shit to say. That wasn't the way it was in Dark Souls 1. In Dark Souls 1, NPCs didn't really have that much to say, and what they did have to say was very rarely detailed or tailored to what was going on at all. They just had random crap to say. But if you stick around and talk to this woman that's tending to all the old ladies that greet you at the beginning of the game, she'll tell you like straight up they're fire keepers, and that there used to be one more of them, and she's gone away somewhere, and you know right away that it was the one you saw in the opening cutscene that told you to come there. That's the one she's talking about, and the fact that they're fire keepers is a big load of plot that just dropped on you to let you know that shit hasn't gone very well in the wake of the Chosen Undead and the prolonged Age of Fire from the first game, because fire keepers are never supposed to meet. If they meet, it means they've abandoned their bonfires because they're supposed to be sitting right next to them. So right away, these old crows that are giving you your initial guidance and supposedly helping you out the door are neglecting their duties in keeping the bonfires going and prolonging the Age of Fire. So that's not very good. But all the NPCs are that way. I mean, you run into a dwarf guy, and then a shopkeeper, and then the blacksmith, and they all have tons and tons of stuff to say. And not all of it's very vague. Some of it's quite specific about who they were and how they got there and what was going on. So that's a very big tonal shift that the developers said they were shooting for, and I don't know if that's because Miyazaki, the series creator, is no longer involved with the project. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, because something tells me he would be like, don't let the NPCs say so much. Don't let them tell the player that much. I want there to be more mystery to the world. They know way too much at the gate, which is kind of true. The next thing you notice, if you play Dark Souls 1 at least, is that the game immediately is trying to seem harder than Dark Souls 1, which, if you've seen any of the reviews and stuff, you know that's not really the case, because everyone is saying it's more approachable, it's easier to get into, and guys that have finished it are actually saying it's easier to beat. But there's some critical differences that it hits you with in the tutorial area and immediately afterwards that you can tell it's trying to at least seem harder. The first and biggest thing is that in Dark Souls 1, every character class, even the mage, got a shield pretty much immediately, and only one class in Dark Souls 2 starts with a shield. And the way, especially the way I played Dark Souls 1, not having a shield made me feel like I didn't have any gear at all. Like I couldn't take any risks because I don't have this shield there to hide behind. So that immediately makes you more cautious and scared of what's going on. The second thing is that you don't get your Estus Flask right away. You get it once you get out of the tutorial area. But even then, when you get it, instead of having 5 charges and 10 if you kindle the bonfire, it has one charge, only one, and using it is really slow. It seems to take him goddamn forever to get that flask out and put it to his mouth and then put it down. Oh, geez. The Estus flask in Dark Souls 1 was real snappy. It was real quick. Sometimes it wasn't quick enough. If you just stood there after a hit and tried to be like, shit, let me heal, it'd still probably get tanked. But if you could roll away, you could usually pop an Estus before they could catch up to you and get some healing action going. Not this time. Instead, you get a bunch of these life gems that replenish your health over time, and that seems a little harder to me. But the fact that they're everywhere, even though they're consumable, they're literally everywhere in the game. So, I mean, yeah, it's trying to seem harder. Another thing that they've done is that the stagger penalty is way more serious than it was in Dark Souls 1. It was still pretty bad because if you got staggered, you were probably going to take an extra hit and die. But this time around, ooh, if you run out of stamina and somebody knocks your shield away or your weapon away, the time it takes for your character to recover from that is ridiculous. It takes so long for him to be able to do anything, even move again. It's crazy. It seems like you use up your stamina more quickly too, but that could just be from the fact that the character I'm using has like a stamina stat of 3, which is fucking pathetic. Rolls still feel different. They're definitely not the same that they were before. I already talked about the invincibility frames being gone, but they seem to take up more stamina. They seem to be slower. Like he doesn't get out of there as quickly as he used to. It's something I've got to get used to because it's going to affect when I can react compared to how I would react in Dark Souls 1. You know, when you throw your dodges in there. So that feels a little different. And I have to say that from some of the enemies I've been fighting, yes, the hit detection definitely feels like it's too generous towards the enemy and not generous enough towards you. Some of my attacks, I think the main problem is that the mace I'm using is just really short. But some of my attacks, I really feel like they should have been hits and they weren't. And I've been fighting like these giant knight guys who, like, I can be almost completely behind them, and when they swing, their sword doesn't look like it should be in a position to hit me, and it still sends me flying. So hit detection doesn't feel quite right, and especially with there's these big, they're I guess ogres or something in the tutorial area. They look like giant, fat, naked mole rats is what they look like, but they've got these tiny little stubby arms and they swing them like this, and it looks like their ability to hit you should be super crippled and really short, but they hit you all the damn time with those things. They're really hard to avoid. So I feel like the hit detection is very much slanted to the advantage of the computer and to the disadvantage of the player. And I'm not sure if that's just because they didn't calibrate it right or because it's deliberate to try to, again, make it harder. Another thing that's different about Dark Souls 2 than Dark Souls 1 is that the big enemy in Dark Souls 1's tutorial was the Asylum Demon. He was the first boss, and when you first walk in to fight him, you don't have a weapon, so naturally you try to run away from him and you find a path to bypass him. But then you come back and you have gear set and you can beat him. Those ogres that I just mentioned, they're in the tutorial area, and there's one standing out there by, it turns out he's not guarding anything, he's guarding a coffin that actually, if you hop into it, it changes your gender, which is weird. But if you go out there to fight him, he's not, I thought he was like the boss of the tutorial area. He's not, he's a trap, because there's not one of them, there's two of them, so the other one comes up from behind you. And the amount of damage you can do to them compared to, say, the amount of damage you would do to the Asylum Demon once you got your gear, you probably do about 10% of the damage to them that you would have done to the Asylum Demon. And there was only one of him, and there's two of them, and if they hit you at all, you will die. Because if they hit you with their stubby little arms, they will combo you, and you'll take 3 hits and you'll die. And if they grab you, they pick you up and they bite you 3 times. They bite you once, it takes half your health. They bite you twice, it takes another almost 40%. And then they bite you a third time and literally just tear your head off. So you die immediately. And from what I can tell, they don't even drop anything. They're just there. They're just a trap. So that kind of sucks that they would put that there, knowing that experienced players would be like, "That's probably the boss," and go down there to fight them, and it's just a retardedly stacked, unfair fight that has no reward, essentially. Now, I'm not going to talk about the area I'm in because I'm about 99 to 100% sure I have wandered into the wrong area. Reviewers and all that said that Dark Souls 2 does not present you with the multiple paths that Dark Souls 1 did, so you're not as likely to walk into the wrong area right away. I know that's not true now, because there's no way I'm in the correct area. It feels like instead of Anor Londo, with its giant knights being in the middle of the game, I walked into the next area and it's like Anor Londo. It looks just like it. And there's giant knights, and they beat my ass so bad. I didn't stand a chance. And I've died over and over and over and over and over again trying to fight them. And I've come to the conclusion that I just have to be in the wrong area, because if the game is really as accessible to new players as they say, that can't be the area outside the tutorial. I have to have taken a wrong turn or something. But that led me to discover another gameplay dynamic that wasn't there at all in Dark Souls 1, which is the curse, which I believe was there in Demon Souls. In Dark Souls, the only way you could get cursed is it was a status ailment that could be put on you by Seath and by very specific enemies throughout the game. And it sucked ass because it cut your health in half. Now, curse is a punishment for dying at all. If you die at all, you lose a little bit of your maximum health. And the more you die, it keeps going down until you're where I'm at, where you have half your maximum health at any one time. I don't know how to cure it. Going to bonfires, leveling up, these things don't cure it. There's no one who offers to cure it. I think the only way probably to cure it is to regain my humanity, and I don't have any more human effigies because I wandered into the wrong area and got killed, and that was the only one they gave me, so I can't cure it. I've gotten a lot better at surviving with half my health, but it pretty much means I can take one hit, period, and then I die. Also, the shields that you can buy in that first area and the one that you find, they are a load of hot garbage. Those shields suck. They don't block 100% of physical damage. So even when you're blocking, and even if you're not being staggered, you still take 10% of the damage they're hitting you with. Unless you can use the Great Shield, which you can't for a long, long time. So that's crazy, that the shields they would give you are so worthless. And that there's even a class that's built on dual-wielding weapons. You want to talk suicide. What are you talking about? No, these games are built around the shield. Why do the shields I have suck? What's going on? I don't know. But I do know I'm in the wrong area. I'm going to have to go back and try to find another path. But, so, yeah. I mean, it's starting to pull me in. The controls are actually working for me now. And I've got to get used to these things that are different. So, that's Dark Souls 2 for right now. Thanks for listening, guys.